Well, this is always a fun time of the year for our players, and it's been going about 6 months of since we got going again in the spring, and they've worked very hard, and they anticipate this, and you always look forward to practice, and then it starts, and then they're like, oh my goodness, we got to go through this for the next 6 weeks. But I think this group is very focused, very dedicated to being special, and we're just it's been fun. The spring and the summer and the fall with them because they work very hard, and I'm anticipate that it'll be fun through this early part of practice, getting ready. So, as a coach, as a staff, you got veteran players back, you got lots of minutes, lots of points, lots of experience. So it's. It makes it easier on us as far as the teaching, and now it's kind of we approached it a little bit different than we have in the past. You got a couple new guys that have to learn some stuff, but with the older guys, we've tried to be go as slow as possible, not putting too much stress on them right now and building up as we get into practice. Because every time we go at it full go, they compete so hard that it's almost like we got to call it off because we don't want anyone to get hurt, and it's way too early. So it's that kind of team, and because of their leadership and experience and toughness, it makes it different as a staff to kind of coach them. So we're looking forward to it. There's no doubt about that, and I know they are.
Greg Woods with the Very Great Coach. Is there a different vibe around the team that you guys finished last year going into practice this week, or is it just the same as always?
Oh, I mean they're excited. There's no doubt about it. The season last year, we won 25 games, ended up maybe the best 10-team league in the history. You finished fourth. You had all those 4 teams were in the top, Sweet 16, 3 in the Elite 8, 1 in the Final 4. They felt good about themselves. And I said a year ago, getting in the NCAA tournament, winning 1 game was a great motivator. And I really believe that's another step that we took, and so it's helped with our guys. They're driven, and Barry wants to be special. He wants to be one of the elite in the history of school. Dean wants to, same type of thing. Cam, you feel bad for him because it's been, up and down, 2 seasons, injuries, and, he'd like to finish on a good note. And the other guys, Xavier, kind of having to break out in the NCAA tournament, Mike McGurl getting his opportunity, McCall, having a great game against Kansas. They all have their little special moments and their opportunities, and I think that's kind of kept them very driven. The strength, our weight coach Ben's done a great job. We did the 185 max, the bench press max, which is the test they use in the NBA. We always try to prepare our guys to help them if they get to the combine or get a tryout. They know the different tests and have been through it. But if we would have 3 guys that would have McCall, Dean, and Barry would have been 1, 2, 3 in last year's combine on the 185 max. So Ben's done a great job. The guys have done a great job buying into it, and so it makes it, as I said, it makes it fun for the coaches, easier on the coaches. Last 2 weeks we've been going on the road recruiting basically every day. I come back for 1 team workout and recruits on the weekends if we have a football game. But, just kind of give them their space and time and let them push themselves and fight through the adversity of conditioning and the challenges been put in front of them. And, again, it makes it easier on us.
Coach, first, just clarification. What 3 players did you say for the 185?
McCall, Dean, and Barry would be 1, 2, 3 if you look up the numbers. Yeah.
I'm interested too just how Sean Williams has adjusted since getting here and acclimated.
He's 2 months behind. He didn't. He wasn't here for the summer. The summer's the introduction. It's one. The NCAA, when they changed that rule and allow freshmen to come to campus, I think it was such a benefit. One, it's helped kids graduate because they get their 6 hours or 9 hours, whatever. But the other part is just getting acclimated to campus. It's almost, to me, it's a dress rehearsal. It's a trial run. And so he missed that part. And then all of a sudden he's thrown into full load of classes, weights, conditioning, all that stuff, which it used to be. That's how every freshman went through it. And I used to always say to, the freshman 2 weeks into it, you want to quit and transfer in three times in this first 2 weeks. And I'm sure he went through that, and, because it was hard. And then you throw in an older team that these are experienced veteran guys that have played a lot of games. So, it doesn't make it any easier for him. But I told him it's going to take you 2 months to catch up at least. And you can see after, I thought last week it was when we did our team workout, it was probably his best one of the year. We're starting to feel a little more comfortable, understanding what we're doing, catching up with everything. And, but it's not easy, and it's not easy on Austin either, even with it being here this summer. Because more than anything, because we have so many veterans and those guys I say a drill, they know what it is. Yeah, those two look at me and, they still don't have that name recognition, understand what we're trying, not only understand how to run the drill, but what we're trying to do in the drill. And that'll just take some time.
Coach, you mentioned the 3 seniors and how hard they're working to become, legendary status.
Yeah.
Aside from having seniors, which is always important, what kind of example does that set when they see how hard those older guys are working for the younger guys, and someone like John who just walks in and sees it's the thing that coaches talk about. I think what Coach Snyder has done for years, the culture, the brand, and they set that. The guys do. We encourage it, but they have to make that decision, and they have to set those expectations, those standards that on a daily basis. And Barry's and Rodney was an unbelievable leader. I've had some other guys through the years, but Barry might take the tops. I mean, it's just amazing. He's a hooper. He loves it. He wants to be around us. He's there, he was there this morning. He's there every morning. He's in with the coaches talking. Sometimes it's just chatter, but he just feels comfortable with being there. And we added a new device in the gym. It's called Shot Tracker, and it tracks every shot that they take. And Barry has some weeks where he's 3,500 to 4,000 shots in a week, and that's unbelievable. And he wants to be good. And when all those now everybody's like, because it's on the board, now can I compete with Barry? Can I get the 3,000 or whatever? And so it just pushes them. Same thing with the weight room. They've set the standards, and you talk about Dean. When he got here, he could barely do one on the 185. And then he got it up to, like 5 or 6. And then you guys know he had pneumonia, he had mono. He went back to 1 or 2 when Ben first got here. And now you're talking 17 of those. So, that kind of standard, even Cam was at his career high on that number, where he was I think he's 9 or 10 on the 185. when before he was 2 probably. So, they've set the standard, and it pushes everybody in the program, makes it easy on the coaches, and, hopefully that will continue for us as a position. And then all of a sudden, Mike was hurt, and then, then Cam got hurt, and, it ended up, all those things happened, and I always think things in life happen for a reason. They actually, it did. Cardi got his chance, Mike got a chance later on, came back and fought through his adversity, but now it created a little bit of dilemma. Now, I'd like to say it's going to be tough, but I'm just, is everyone going to stay healthy? That'll be the first factor. But if they do stay healthy, the thing I've talked about since day one, and I showed him Villanova's minutes. Brunson was the #1 national player of the year, averaged 32 minutes. The 6th man got drafted, and he was in 27, 28 minutes a game. So I showed them it's not just how many minutes they get, what they do with their minutes. It'll help, as a freshman. Barry, everyone wants to play all these minutes. So at the end of the freshman year, Barry couldn't do anything at the end. He had no life, no energy. So we've also talked about having energy at the end of games, having energy at the end of the season, getting more out of your minutes and competing. So that's the thing I've talked about with our guys. but again, we'll see how it plays out. It will, I hope we don't have injuries, but we'll have some along the way, but no major ones. But if that happens, then hopefully you can get more out of the guys. They can be more efficient in their minutes.
Where's Cam at right now?
I would say his foot is as far as like an X-ray, the actual physical foot, it's the best it's been since he got hurt. And we just did a MRI, latest X-ray. I mean, it's basically, you could say it's healed. Now, he's had a couple little setbacks, some tweaking of some things, working out orthotics, things like that. But I would say he's close. I'd say he's more 90-some%. Where when he played, he gave. You got to give the kid credit. When he played for us in the NCAA tournament, because he's probably 60-65%. And we didn't realize even until after the season where he was, but he wanted to be part of it and helped us obviously do something special.
Coach, taking a look at your non-conference schedule here, it's at Marquette. You got Vanderbilt, one of the top recruiting classes in the country, potentially playing Missouri in that tournament. How much did the past few years kind of influence you to maybe beef up that non-conference schedule, and where do you think this one sits just in terms of difficulty level and kind of rating that?
Well, I think scheduling, I've talked about it before with you guys, it's to me, and it goes back to my conversations with Coach Katie when I was a young guy, it's can be at times more important than recruiting. And if you got a young team, you don't want to overschedule. If you got an older team, you want to give your guys competition and so you're ready. You're looking at the bigger goals, and every year it's you got to be smart about it. And there sometimes. And the other thing is, I was at an NBA practice yesterday and talking to Tad Boyle from Colorado, and he just said to me, "Is scheduling getting tougher for you?" And I said, "It's tough all the time." He was just saying, I couldn't get a BCS team to play me. And so people just don't understand it. They think, oh, just call some team, we're going to get a game. It's not happening. And then, who's refs, what place, where you start, and all that stuff. It's a difficult process. But, we had a veteran team. We thought we could challenge ourselves. The only thing we really didn't get, we thought we could get a higher BCS team at home this year, and we just couldn't do it. And I had a lot of cuss words on text messages sent to me from a lot of coaches. And, we still, Marquette, BPI, whatever the heck that means, they're rated number 4 in the country on the ESPN thing or something. One of those, so they're very good. They have one of the best guards in the country, a big guy that's good. So it'll be a challenge. Obviously, if you get to play Missouri, with Porter, first, All-American on some things, Tillman, and then Perrier, you got some really good veteran players. Council's done a nice job. Texas A&M, at Texas A&M, they were a Sweet 16 team last year. Billy does a great job there. I think the other thing we've really done is our other games. Georgia State is going to be really good. Southern Miss is going to be really good. George Mason is a really well coached team. So you instead of like trying to get some guys experience, we've had experience. Now it's going to be a challenge every game, and hopefully preparing us later on. We're playing Georgia State because they play zone. I don't want. I talked to Tom Izzo after they lost to Syracuse in the NCAA. He just said our one-day prep, we didn't have time enough to be prepared for Syracuse's zone. And now we get to play Baylor and that. So you play as many different styles, different conferences, all that stuff. Hopefully it'll help in the long run in our preparation.
Coach, I know McCall was one of those slowed a little bit this summer. Where's he at right now?
Yeah, he's back fine. We held him out about a month. I think it was July they held him out, and he did. Well, you can see what he did. He got in the weight room, and when you see it, if you haven't seen him, he's just huge. It's like, how the heck did this happen? But for him, the motivation. He came to us after Kentucky last year. He said, "Man, Coach, those dudes are big, strong, and if I want to compete with them, I got to get bigger." And I think he pushed them, and then when he had the injury, instead of wearing out calorie, wearing down and, running up and down, he didn't have that opportunity. So he got in the room and that weight room and really worked at it. So, but right now I'd say he's 100%. I mean, everyone gets boogered up and they got sore muscles after conditioning and stuff, but he's doing fine and, ready to go.
Bruce, how
Well, I think he, it started when Cam got hurt last year after Texas Tech. I mean, I've told the story. He said, we're practicing tomorrow, Coach, whether you guys can be there or not. I mean, that showed his determination, his leadership, and he just said, we're not going to let this team's not failing. And he put it on himself, and then he takes credit for Dean taking a big step, and that's fine if he did help them. But, and that's continued. It has not stopped. When people say, oh, he put his name in, was he going to come back? I think he handled it really well. It was an experience to learn, to listen to people, find out what they said. And it's probably the same thing we said, but now it's Magic Johnson, it's the Nets GM or whatever. So he's taken that in, and he wants to leave a legacy here. 2, he wants to prepare himself that he has a chance to play professional basketball and play in the NBA. And it would be a great story. Rodney McGruder's a great story. Wesley Wanda's a great story. Barry would be an unbelievable story if he has that opportunity. But he knows, it's hard. It's hard, and if he was 6'5", it would be different, and he's not. But he gets the most out of it, out of his ability. And he, playing without the ball was one thing they all told him. He's worked on that. His consistency, 3-point shot, he's worked on that. Passing, cutting down on the turnovers. I think those are all things, we'll see as the season goes on. That'll be, obviously what our team does will leave the legacy, but all those things will help him and then help us.
One other thing, Xavier Sneed, we always ask you before the season about Xavier. He's such an exciting player. Where is he right now, and maybe his confidence level heading into the season coming off of, the NCAA run?
Well, they've all worked hard, and he's in that mix, and he, because of his athleticism, he does bring the excitement. He does some things that no one else on our team can do. His thing is just getting better at the ball handling, putting on the floor, being able to, shoot off the move, and it's things. I think he's playing at a high level. There was 2 weeks ago we had a team workout, and it might have been the best he's ever played. He looked like he looked like he understood and knew what he was doing and smooth. So but with all of those guys. One of our number one things is rebounding, so, obviously we addressed it hopefully with Austin, bringing him in, but the big address will be those guys. McCall's got to be better. Dean's got to be better. Xavier's got to be better. And if they all are better, and then you add Austin into mix, then, that could be take a negative and hopefully make it a strength.
Coach, is Dean's foot okay?
Yeah, he's been fine. He's been he recovered probably faster than Cam. Now we caught his. It wasn't a total break, and but he's been fine. He works. He's going strong. He's moving, doing everything. I'd say it's still. I wouldn't tell you he's got all the rust off of him. Same thing, Cam. When you don't play for 5-6 months, it takes a while to get it back. But you can just see every week how he's starting to make some progress.
Obviously, you have a lot of experience coming back. Where does this rank in your coaching career as for teams coming back? Have you ever had this much experience?
Yeah, we had that 1 year at Purdue. We were back-to-back Big Ten championships back in the 87, 88, and that group actually. Kansas, you guys that have been around here a long time know, because Kansas State beat us when we were, I think, 1 or 2 seed that year, and that group was all back, and then I had the group at Southern Illinois where we had everyone back and added a really good player to them, and obviously the 05 team at Illinois, and it's got to compare with that, but we have more depth than that team. We only went 7-8 guys there, and right now, everybody stays healthy. We probably have more depth than that. So, all those groups, all those teams, had special seasons and left legacies, and hopefully this group will do the same thing.
How are you, sir?
Good.
You haven't been asked yet about guys that I think will maybe help you along the way, like Nigel and Levi and those types of guys, James Love. What are your expectations going into
they might be the key to us really being special, to take another step. And
I thought Levi had a very motivated summer. Last year I think I told you guys Mike McGurl had the best summer and our most surprising improved summer. Levi probably would be up there, and our guys all work hard, but I think he saw the challenge of Austin. He wants minutes. He had a taste of it, and it all motivates him. So it's important. James Love has had some consistency of being on the court for the first time since he's been here. He was in the gym this morning. He's been in the gym on his own, which is a big step. I think, again, they all watch each other and they see, hey, the guy's in here. I got to get in here. James' thing is staying healthy. I think last 2 weeks I called in and the coach said James had the best week he's had since he's been here. And then we came back and had open gym with the recruit on Saturday, and he got hurt. So it's like, consistency with him. Nigel is, he didn't play for 6 months, and it's just it was a great thing for him, the red shirt, for his future, but it really set him back because he didn't get to practice on a daily basis. Now he is truly a freshman. It's all he's starting over and trying to learn and figure it out. Now, physically, athletically, strength-wise, he's off the charts. He's the top, and but can he learn the game and figure the things out that he needs to do to help us? So, when you guys talk about minutes and stuff, those guys they're going to be fighting for minutes with Austin, and who kind of fits the niche. And the nice thing, every game is different. Some of those early games you got to play small ball. And then later on, we're playing Kansas. They got big old dudes. So that's where, guys like James, Nigel, Texas, whoever it might be. And I think that's the nice thing about our team. I think we're versatile and we can play. We proved last year we can play small ball. And now if we get the addition of some of these guys, they take step, we can, play with some size. So those guys are important and could give us really good depth.
I noticed not everyone has identified themselves. I'll go ahead and do it. I'm Ryan Black with Manhattan Mercury. Last year we just heard so much about how one of the biggest motivating factors for this team was being picked low in the Big 12. Given just the high expectations coming back for this year, where do you sense the biggest motivating factor is? Is it just being one game short of the Final Four? Or
we've talked all along about improvement and better. And that's all we've really focused on every day. And, I texted them last night, and team improvement better. That's all we can focus on, and then leave a legacy. Do something really, really special. And you watch the NCAA tournament. You can have a great year. Virginia did, Michigan State did, and it's really, really difficult. And my Illinois team, we had the most wins in the history of the NCAA at that time, and we were down 9 with a minute something left to go to the Final Four. And so you just never know what can happen. And so we really focus on day to day, the journey, enjoying each other. You're never going to have this opportunity again. Keep improving, pushing yourself, playing together, sharing the basketball. And if we can focus on that stuff, it's fine. It still baffles me a little bit that we have everyone back. We were in the Elite Eight without our best player, with some of the best stats in the history and probably the best league in the history of a 10-team league, and we're not rated as high. But that's just sometimes they don't pay attention, I guess. But we'll see.
Cody Friesen, Kansas State Collegian. Can you talk more about Austin Treese and what you?
Yeah. He brings athleticism. If you haven't seen him, we've had more tip dunks from him than we've had. He had more than the rest of the team all summer. He brings it. He goes to the board. I told Coach Lowry last week we were driving recruiting. I said one thing he does every day, he goes to the boards. And I'm not saying our team it doesn't probably have that mentality of just going to the boards every time. So Austin has helped us because when you're guarding him, you better box his butt out because if you don't, and then the next day we came and had the team workout, boom, he went around Dean, tip dunk, boom, he went around somebody else, got a layup. And I said, hey, this is what I told Coach Lauer yesterday. He's got a lot to learn. He's got to figure out some things, but he can definitely, he will bring a high level of athleticism to our team. Now, can he do some of the other things that'll help him get minutes and fit in with our team?
As a follow-up to him on that, have you had to talk to him at all just about, because we kind of know one of the biggest areas you guys struggled with last year was rebounding, and he obviously was fantastic at it where he was just at.
Yeah.
Have you had to talk to him about this, hey, we want you to be a good rebounder, but don't put too much pressure on yourself to feel like you have to do everything?
Yeah, just know your niche. We've talked about it a lot with our guys. Not only being efficient with your minutes, but figuring out what you do and, figure out your niche and doing it really well. That's how you're going to play. We had NBA guys come and talk to him this summer and talk to him about, the guys showed them, there's two superstars. The rest are role players. The sooner you figure that out and figure out how you can be really good at your role, you always hear Tom Brady and Belichick talk about do your job. And it's the same thing in the NBA. Do your job and you be good at it. If you do that, you're going to get minutes. Our team is going to be successful. It's definitely, he's got to pass the ball. He's got to dribble. You got to play basketball, but you want to do the things you're doing. If you bring that to the table, it's gonna help us.
Coach, you've seen plenty of teams come throughout the years bringing in classes. One like KU has this year with 4 and 5 stars. How does your team, though, compare, maybe have an edge on a team like that, whereas they have so many talented freshmen, but you have these experienced guys? How much, I guess, does that experience pay off for you in the long run against a team like that?
Well, I think you just, if you study college basketball, and it happens once in a while. Kentucky's had some where they've had all young guys, but for the most part, experience is one. You look at the Final Four teams last year, it was experienced teams. It was, guys that have even Kansas, they had a couple really highly rated guys, but for the most part, those guys were long-term guys that helped them reach the Final Four. Villanova, long-term, guys that have been there. Experience makes it's a big difference maker, and it's like going to an NBA practice and watching the rookies. And I came back this morning. I just said, guys just don't understand how hard it is. And these are the best, the elite. They were drafted, and they come to the NBA, and now they're playing against those veterans that have been around and understand it. It's hard. So hopefully we'll have an advantage. We'll see. It's still baffling me. They had BPI ratings of guys that never played college basketball. How do you do that? The computers must be really smart.
It seems like the last couple of years you guys have been content to just play the 2 preseason games. What made you switch it up and do a scrimmage this season?
Just experience again. Just older team. The exhibitions of games are great if you have young guys that need to get out in front of people and play, and need. The problem is, and our guys in the state, they're great, and they, but that second game for an older team, it's not very. It doesn't help them. It really doesn't. And so we just felt it was important to play. To have a game against another team. Also, when you do the scrimmage, you don't have to play 40 minutes. You can play 50 and do special situations. There's no time limit to it, so it gives you opportunity to do a lot of different things. To hopefully, in the long range, it will help you prepare for for the season and postseason.
One more for you. What's the next step for Dean Wade? What are you challenging to do?
When you talk about 55, 44, assist turnover, it's just the one glaring thing is just more rebounds, better rebounding. I don't think the really nice thing about our team, and obviously our team defensive stats were off the charts. They were high level last year, and Barry is, if not one of the best defenders, he is the best defender maybe in the country. Xavier's really gotten good. Mike McGurl is a really good defender. But I don't know if people give enough credit for Dean. And I've talked to a few of the NBA guys that really, came several times last year, and they are like,
God, he's switching ball screens, he's doing this. And you all know that freshman year he was always in the wrong spot, he was always reaching, he was always fouling. And now, you know, he's gotten a lot better at that stuff. So, you know, it continue to show that he can guard people and guard a variety of people, because that's the NBA. You know, who can you guard? It's not always what position you are, what you do. It's who can you guard, and then the rebounding part, just being a little more aggressive, and you know, you add 2 more to that. So probably if he wouldn't have got hurt and he was averaging 8 rebounds a game, he wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't be asking me questions about him. So
it was kind of a fun question here about you guys bring back Midnight Madness October 12th. I was curious about the thought process in doing that, and just a sense of excitement and doing that for the fans.
I think more than anything, you got a lot of hype and excitement. The fan development people asked, you know, hey, could we do it? And, you know, I just said, as long as we do a good job. To me, it's a wasted day of practice, to be honest. But as long as they do a good job and it brings some excitement, and our guys, you know, it's great to, you know, sell tickets and get people all excited. That's why we did it. So, you know, and they like it, I guess. The kids like it, no matter what they say. So.
Do you sense excitement around Manhattan right now for basketball?
Yeah, and around the state, around the country, everywhere I go. And I was in there at 2 airports yesterday. People grab me that just, you know, that K-State fans, and you know, so it's there's a lot of excitement. We got a good team. We got good guys. We got good players, great kids. So you know, I think people are excited about it, and our guys are excited about it.
Wearing the Lavenders again this season?
Yes, yes, we will. And we may even pull out a little something, different, add a little different look to it. So we'll see what happens. And then we'll get Coach Spiro works with Nike, and they do everything 2 years out or whatever. But we'll have some new sets of uniforms. Hope to do another retro one a year from now. So. But I think the people liked it. Our kids liked it. Obviously, we were 3-0 in it. That always helps.